This is where all the clickbaiters is ready to clip. Let's get into the good stuff. Last week I had an exchange online with Stephen A, where he was vocal about what he thought I needed to do, and he also said some other things. So let's watch it. Okay. Let's pause right there. What type of journalism is this? Jason Tatum hasn't been on my stream, and this is what we're talking about on First Take. What if JT just don't like being somewhere in an uncontrolled environment? Why are you doing journalism on me having guests on my stream? And this is a part of the reason why I started streaming. This is a part of the reason why people use the term clown, and it synchronizes with someone like Stephen A. Smith. Because this is what you're using your platform for. What are you talking about? Let's continue.
Right. He was in street clothes. You the only one, the only star in the history of the Boston Celtics that ever lost a 3-1 lead and surrendered it, and that's your favorite year. Why? Because you and your teammates developed better chemistry and camaraderie? You understand what I'm saying? Because you overcame adversity?
See, this is where I gotta pause again. So this is a narrative that he's creating. This is in journalism. This is him making his own opinion and formalizing it about what I had to say on his platform. And this is why, respectfully, a lot of people say that. Because this is the type of stuff he does. And once again, this is what Stephen A is using his platform for. Let's see what he finishes with.
What happens? What's the remedy? Given all these things you're pointing out, I'm with you. But that's why I brought up the whole trade thing again. What are you going to do about it?
I don't mind. But what I'm saying is the first order of business is that he needs to be quiet and like big.
Let me stop right there. Did he just say I needed to be quiet? Be quiet for who? Man, Stephen A, Stephen B, Stephen C. Like, my offer still stands. You want me to be quiet and stop streaming? Well, I want you to be quiet and get off these networks, because you're not using your platform to do real journalism. You're using your platform to use clickbait. The ladder down, y'all ain't doing nothing but helping y'all themselves, and I'm tired of that. I'm not being and that's why people calling that, and that's why I've came to that conclusion. And I'll tell Stephen A and whoever else when they see me in person, I will let you know that it's Stephen A, Stephen B, Stephen C, directly to your face. So you don't even know. Like, it don't gotta be no, you know what I mean? It is what it is. You know what I mean?
All right, y'all, what's good? Hope everybody's locked in, because listen to this. We gotta talk about Stephen A. Smith and Jaylen Brown. Now, Jaylen basically came out swinging saying, man, forget Stephen A. Smith, A, B, C, D, and I'll say it to his face when I see him. So let me make this crystal clear. He's fed up with the narratives being pushed. He's tired of being turned into clickbait. He's over folks trying to stir up drama like, oh, Jason Tatum didn't pull up to my stream, but he'll go on First Take and all that extra noise. He straight up said, this ain't journalism. You're just chasing clicks. But hold up, let's really keep it 1,000 right here. I'm not mad at it at all. Anytime an NBA player steps out and speaks their truth, I'm tuned in. You already know I'm gonna break it down and give my take. And let me be real with y'all for a second. Stephen A. Smith is absolutely in the business of pushing controversy for clicks. Are they talking about basketball sometimes? Of course. Are sports still part of the convo on those shows? No doubt. But let's not act like Stephen A. doesn't step outside that lane. He's clearly following that Skip Bayless blueprint. Say something wild, stir the pot, and get people talking. Like, let me say something controversial. Let me bring up stuff that ain't even happening on the court. And yeah, I've said it before. Sometimes he comes off like Stephen A.'s script reader Smith, and you know he's gonna see this too. But listen, I've been noticing for years that he can get a little sensitive, and that's cool. Everybody is human. Standing up for yourself ain't the issue. But when the New Orleans Pelicans Twitter account clapped back at him for constantly going at Zion, he made it personal and started throwing shots at everything over there. And that right there told me everything I needed to know. And I had to bring this up because look, Jaylen Brown is entitled to feel how he feels. Stephen A can feel however he wants to. But when you're on these massive platforms, these big-time networks pushing narratives that get blasted across TV, Twitter, and everywhere else at the highest level, come on now, you gotta expect people to respond. The public has every right to speak on it once you take things beyond just basketball and start pushing it into other territory. When you do that, don't be surprised when players clap back. And that's when I really started peeping Stephen A moving a little differently. And I had to pause like, hold up. I sat back, thought it through, and it really clicked for me. I told myself, nah, this is deeper than it looks, because people were already talking. And I'm gonna use myself as an example real quick. I never played in the NBA. That's a fact. Have I hooped before? Of course. Can I speak about the game? Absolutely. And let's be real, Stephen A. Smith ain't playing at that level either. But when your voice is amplified on that kind of stage, it hits differently. An NBA player is gonna look at that like, bro, you never competed at this level. You never got called up. You never faced elite talent every single night. And yet you speak with full authority, like you truly know every layer of it. Are people tuned in? No question. And I had to really sit with that, y'all. I'm not trying to make this about me, but stay with me for a second. You got people who never built a platform, never ran a channel, never hosted streams, suddenly jumping in trying to critique how it's done. And yeah, that's cool, do your thing. But I'm like, wait a minute. I've been grinding in this space for 8 years, and now you're trying to school me on something you haven't even experienced yet? You're not there. You haven't put in the work. I've forgotten more than you've learned, and you are still catching up. And I honestly think NBA players feel that same energy sometimes when it comes to outside voices. If I come in just as a fan saying, man, he was off tonight, he wasn't hooping, they'll brush it off like, alright, he's just talking. That comes with the territory. But it hits differently when Stephen A shows up suited up, speaking like he got all the answers, and that message gets pushed everywhere at the highest level. And from Jaylen Brown's perspective, regardless of the outcome this season, even with Tatum dealing with injuries late in the series, there's still pride there. So he might be thinking, nah, you're not about to keep saying anything without me responding. Like, I hear you talking crazy, now I gotta address it. Because at the end of the day, you're not the one lacing up, stepping on that hardwood, and competing at that level. Appreciate y'all for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.